Hey, hello, I'm Tunesy. If you couldn't tell by the channel name, of course. Um, oh my goodness, we're on week 7, guys. Week? Get a load of this guy. Um, sorry, I meant we're on day 7. It's officially been a week since I started this series, and it's flopping so far. So, please, if you guys, um, have any friends or family members that like true crime stuff like this, please share it with them, because I'm not gonna lie, uh I kind of waste sleep for this. Like, I kind of ruin my sleep schedule for this. So, like, currently it's 11 o'clock right now, and I need to wake up at like 8 tomorrow. No, like 7. 6 7. Sorry. But yeah. So, please, 'cause I'm trying to get my views up. And yeah, today I'm doing state Connecticut. Um, so I was told not to do Connecticut because no one knows Connecticut exists, which I'm pretty sure over 100 live in Connecticut. So I don't know what that person was talking about. Get a load of that person. Am I right? Um, and yeah, let's get started. Today's crime scene is the Cheshire Murders, where two burglars killed the Petit family. On July 22nd, 2007, Hawk Petit and her daughter, Michelle, went to a local Stop and Shop grocery store in Cheshire, Connecticut. They picked up food for a family dinner Michelle planned to prepare. At the grocery store, Komosarjeski noticed and took an interest in them, proceeding to follow them home. Prosecutors argue at the trial that Komosarjeski was motivated by money and his interest in Michelle. Shortly afterwards, Hay sent a message to Komosarjeski that read, "I'm chopping at the bit to get started. Need a margarita soon." Hayes then texted, "We still on?" Komosarjeski replied, "Yes." Hayes' next text asked, "Soon," to which Komosarjeski replied, "I'm putting the kid to bed. Hold your horses." Hayes replied, "Dude, the horses want to get loose. LOL. Leon Komosarjeski had planned to rob the Petit house, leaving the family bound but unharmed. On July 23rd, they found Hawk Petit's husband, William, asleep on a couch in the sunroom. Komosarjeski entered the basement through an unlocked door and took a baseball bat he found leaning on the basement stairs. Komosarjeski then entered the sunroom and used the bat to strike William 4 or 5 times. Komosarjeski and Hayes bound William's wrists and ankles with plastic zip ties and rope. William remembered one perpetrator telling the other, "If he moves, put 2 bullets in him." The children and their mother were then bound in their rooms. Hayes and Komosarjeski tied them by their wrists and ankles to their bedposts and placed pillowcases over their heads. After restraining the victims, Komosarjeski and Hayes resacked the house for cash. They then took William to the basement, where they tied him to a support pole. Hayes and Komosarjeski continued ransacking the house for money, but were not satisfied with what they found. They then found a check registered with $40,000. They decided to steal $15,000. Surveillance video from a gas station shows Lee purchasing $10 worth of gasoline in 2 cans that were taken from the Petit home. After returning to the house, Hayes took Hockey Petit to the bank. The prosecution later claimed that this was evidence of premeditated murder. Hayes forced Hawk Petit to withdraw $15,000 from her line of credit when the bank opened. Hawk Petit informed the bank teller that 2 men were holding her family hostage in their home and threatening to kill them all. Bank surveillance cameras captured the transaction. The bank manager called 911 and reported the situation to the police while Hawk Petit was still with the teller.
We have a lady who is in our bank right now who says that her husband and children are being held at their house.
The manager reported to the 911 dispatcher that Hawk Petit left the bank. The manager told the dispatcher that Hawk Petit had indicated that the home invaders were being nice, and that she believed they only wanted money. The Cheshire police responded to the bank's report by assessing the situation and setting up a vehicle perimeter without revealing their presence. While the police were outside, Komisarvsky sexually assaulted Michelle. Evidence that Komisarvsky raped Michelle came from her autopsy, during which state medical examiner Dr. Wayne Carver found his semen in her body. Komisarvsky photographed the assault and rape on his cell phone. In his interrogation, he claimed that he believed Michelle was 14 or 16. Forensic testing results showed that there were bleach on Michelle's clothes, indicating that Komisarvsky may have tried to eliminate DNA evidence from the assault. According to Hayes' confession, Komisarvsky provoked Hayes into raping Hawk Petit. William was able to hear his wife's assault upstairs. He yelled up and heard one of the invaders say, "Don't worry, it's all going to be over in a couple of minutes." William then managed to escape. He later said, "I thought it's now or never because in my mind at the moment, I thought they were going to shoot all of us." In confessing, Hay said that while raping Hawk Petit on the living room floor, Komisarvsky entered and announced that William had escaped. Hayes and Komisarvsky drowned her lifeless body and parts of the house, including the daughters' bedrooms and the daughters themselves, with gasoline. Investigators would later find the accelerant on the Petit sisters' beds and on the clothing they were wearing. Hayes and Komisarvsky started a fire and fled the scene. Haley and Michelle both died of smoke inhalation. Haley managed to escape her restraints and run out of her bedroom and into the hallway, where she collapsed and died. Her body was found at the top of the staircase. Third and fourth degree burns on her feet indicated that she got very close to the fire around the time she died. The medical examiner who performed an autopsy on her could not determine if the burns occupied before or after her death. Michelle's body was found in her bedroom. She was still in her bed, her hands tied to it, and her lower body hanging off it. Like with her older sister, Michelle's burns may have occurred while she was still alive. William had been able to free himself, exiting the house and crawling to a neighbor's yard for help. The neighbor initially did not recognize him due to the severity of his injuries. Meanwhile, Hayes and Komisarvsky fled the scene in the Petit family car. They were immediately spotted by the police surveillance, pursued, and arrested 1 block away after crashing into a police car. The home invasion had lasted 7 hours. Both Hayes and Komisarvsky confessed to the murders. Detectives testified that Hayes smelled of gasoline throughout her interrogation. Komisarvsky blamed William for the murders. In Komisarvsky's diary, which was later entered into evidence, he called William a coward and claimed that he could have saved his family if he wanted to. Lee's trial began on September 13, 2010. The jury was composed of 7 women and 5 men. Lee's defense attorney argued that Komisarvsky was the mastermind behind the home invasion and that he was responsible for escalating the violent nature of the crime at every critical point. Prosecutors argued that both perpetrators shared responsibility. Following the completion of the trial, the jury deliberated for about 5 hours and reached guilty verdicts on October 5th. The sentencing phase of the trial began on October 18, 2010, during which the jurors had to decide if Lee should be executed or imprisoned for life. Deliberations began on November 5th. The first day of deliberations ended with the jury split over whether to recommend life in prison or death. The second day of these deliberations began on November 6th. Defense attorney Thomas Ullman told the jury that a sentence of life in prison would be the harshest possible punishment for his client, Hayes, because her crime so tormented her and she would be isolated in prison. Life in prison without the possibility of release is the harshest penalty, Ullman said. It is a fate worse than death. If you want to end her misery, put her to death. If you want her to suffer and carry that burden forever, the guilt, shame, and humiliation, sentence her to life without the possibility of release. On November 8, 2010, the jury returned with a recommendation that Hayes to be executed. The jury recommended a death sentence on each of the 6 capital felony counts for which Hayes was convicted. In the sentencing phase, the jury had deliberated for about 17 hours over the course of 4 days. Before reaching a decision, Juries later reported that they deliberated over a long period of time so that they could weigh all the evidence properly. Hayes had attempted to negotiate a life sentence in a plea bargain, but the prosecutors chose to take the case to trial so that she could get the death penalty. After the verdict, her defense attorney stated, Hayes smiled upon hearing the jury's recommendation of a death sentence. Then she then added, Hayes is thrilled. That's what she's wanted all along. During a press conference after the verdict, Dr. Petit stated, We all know that God will be the final arbiter and think the defendant faces far more serious punishments from the Lord than she can ever face from mankind. He also spoke about his family, saying, Michelle was an 11-year-old little girl tortured and killed in her own room, surrounded by stuffed animals. Haley had a great future. She was a strong and courageous person, and Jennifer helped so many kids. For the first time in state history, the Connecticut State Judicial Branch offered post-traumatic stress assistance to jurors who served for 2 months on the triple murder trial because they had been required to look at disturbing images. On December 2nd, 2010, Hayes apologized for the pain and suffering she had caused to the Polite family and added that death for me will be a welcome relief, and I hope it will bring some peace and comfort to those who I have hurt so much. Judge John Blue formally imposed 6 death sentences, one for each of the capital charges. Blue then added a sentence of 106 years for other crimes Hayes committed during the home invasion, including kidnapping, burglary, assault, before finishing with, This is a terrible sentence, but it is, in truth, a sentence you wrote for yourself in flames. May God have mercy on your soul. The judge also gave Hayes an official execution date of May 27, 2011. Blue said the date was a formality because if Hayes appealed her case, her execution could be delayed for decades. Her death sentence became a life sentence in August 2015 when the state abolished capital punishment. Commissarvachi's attorneys offered for him to plead guilty in exchange for a life sentence, but prosecutors took the case to trial in order to give him the death penalty. Komisarjevsky's trial began on September 19, 2011. His attorney blamed Hayes for the murders, arguing that she was the criminal mastermind, while their client was a confused and easily led man who did not intend to kill anyone. Komisarjevsky was found guilty on October 13, 2011. On October 9, 2011, the jury recommended the death penalty. During the hearing, Judge Blue said, This is a terrible sentence, but it's one you wrote for yourself with deeds and unimaginable horror and savagery. Komisarjevsky made a statement during the sentence hearing. He spoke about the shame, disappointment, and hurt he had caused, saying, I will never find peace within. My life will be a continuation of the hurt I caused. The clock is now ticking, and I owe a debt I cannot repay. Though he acknowledged taking part in the crime, he insisted that he did not intend to kill anyone, saying, Millions have judged me guilty of capital offense I did not commit. I did not intend for those women to die. They were never supposed to lose their lives. I don't need 12 people to tell me what I'm guilty or not guilty of. None of them were there that morning. I know my responsibilities. I will bear them as I should. What I cannot do is claim responsibility for the actions of others. He also said that forgiveness was not his to have, and that he needed to forgive his worst enemy, himself. During his victim impact statement, Dr. Petit described the crime as his personal holocaust and said, I have a difficult time sleeping and trusting anymore. I hope to continue to honor my family. I push forward in the hope that good will overcome evil. Blue set July 20th, 2012 as Komisarjevsky's execution date, as with Hayes. Komisarjevsky's death sentence was turned into a life sentence in August 2015. That will be the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Also, I'm so sorry if I'm mumbling a bit in the video. I'm like kind of half asleep. I'm so tired when I'm doing this. Well, this one I'm kind of tired. So so sorry if I'm mumbling in any of the like parts, or like if I'm like kind of zoning out. And yeah, which I'm pretty sure I'll edit out the parts that I'm zoning out or mumbling. But still, like if you catch one, then I'm like really tired. It's 11:36. I've been up since 6:30 this morning. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. This video was kind of a long one, I think. Without editing it, it's like I think over 20 minutes, but it's probably going to be cut short. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one, which is tomorrow, day 8. See you guys in the next one. Bye.